One of the things that's kind of difficult about this life is that you're constantly set apart. So people call you ma'am. No one's ever called me ma'am before this. I mean, frankly, no one ever called me Mrs. Vance before this.
The internet can turn whispers into wildfires. And that's exactly what happened when a supposed leaked video featuring Erika Kirk, widow of conservative figure Charlie Kirk, and Usha Vance, wife of Vice President J.D. Vance, began circulating online. Within hours, social media feeds lit up with speculation, outrage, and endless analysis. Some called the clip a portrait of compassion and sisterhood. Others swore it was political theater disguised as grief. But the truth? It's far murkier. Because as this story spiraled out of control, one thing became clear. No one really knew whether the video even existed. And yet millions were convinced it did. This is not just the story of a rumored leak. It's a story about power, perception, and how digital storytelling blurs the line between empathy and manipulation. So tonight, we're digging into what really happened, or what people think happened, in the viral tale that's redefining the way politics and personal tragedy collide online. Welcome to the deep dive into the Erika Kirk and Usha Vance phenomenon. At first, the rumor appeared on fringe social platforms. A few anonymous
J.D. has shared much of his life through his own eloquent words. In his book, Hillbilly Elegy, during his Senate campaign, and now as a sitting United States Senator. It occurred to me that there was only one thing to do: to explain from the heart why I love and admire J.D. and stand here beside him today.
Posts claiming there was footage of two powerful women sharing a private, emotional moment at an airfield. The story spread quickly. Erika Kirk, mourning the sudden death of her husband, Charlie Kirk, was allegedly seen holding hands with Usha Vance, offering a gesture so moving that it silenced everyone watching. The problem? No credible news outlet ever published such footage. But screenshots, blurred stills, and dramatic retellings multiplied by the minute. In the attention economy, emotion spreads faster than evidence. And soon the clip that no one could verify became a trending topic that everyone debated. To understand why this rumor hit so hard, we need to understand who these women are. Erika Kirk, once known primarily as the poised, photogenic partner of conservative firebrand Charlie Kirk, had transformed into a visible public figure in her own right. After her husband's unexpected death in 2025, she became the symbolic heart of his movement, standing on stages, speaking of faith, family, and perseverance. Her image, strong yet grieving, resonated deeply with followers. On the other side stood Usha Vance, the enigmatic spouse of a rising political star who had just become vice president. Brilliant, reserved, and impeccably composed, Usha had long been seen as the quiet strategist behind her husband's ascent. Together, they represented two contrasting forms of conservative womanhood, one emotional and public, the other cerebral and discreet. So when a rumor surfaced suggesting these two women shared an intimate human moment, something raw, unscripted, and profoundly real, it struck a cultural nerve. People wanted to believe it, not necessarily because it was true, but because it felt true. In a political world built on performance, a glimpse of authenticity is irresistible. Comment sections filled with competing narratives. Some saw the supposed footage as an emblem of female solidarity, two women supporting each other through unimaginable loss. Others called it a calculated act, a choreographed image designed to soften conservative power through vulnerability. Hashtags appeared overnight. Erika and Usha, dive 15 minutes at a time. Power in grief. Within days, TikTok creators began producing video essays dissecting the rumor frame by frame, even though there was no verifiable source video to analyze. AI-generated reconstructions popped up, deepfake-style montages pairing stock runway footage with somber music. The internet had built a myth, and then gave it life through repetition. This is where the story turns from gossip into something sociological. What made millions of people so invested in a scene that may never have existed? The answer lies in timing. The death of Charlie Kirk, a polarizing but influential figure, left a vacuum in conservative circles. His wife Erika became an instant symbol of endurance. Meanwhile, the Vance administration was struggling to balance authority with empathy in an era of political exhaustion. A moment of tenderness between their two worlds offered the emotional catharsis people craved. It wasn't about proof. It was about meaning. News outlets hesitated to cover the rumor directly, but they couldn't ignore its cultural momentum. Opinion columns emerged asking why audiences were so quick to turn grief into spectacle. One commentator wrote, "We don't want truth anymore. We want symbolism we can believe in." Others argued that the supposed video represented a collective yearning for authenticity in a political landscape dominated by artifice. Even skeptics found themselves moved by the idea of it, two women transcending politics to comfort each other. The rumor became a mirror reflecting society's contradictions, our cynicism about power, and our simultaneous hunger for humanity within it. As researchers dug deeper, digital forensics experts traced the origins of the so-called leak. The earliest post came from a newly created account that vanished within hours, its data pointing to servers outside the US. Some suggested it was a deliberate psyop, crafted to stir emotional division. Others thought it was simply fan fiction that escaped into reality. But no one could prove anything. By then, the story had already achieved mythic status. Podcasts, YouTube channels, and political influencers used it as a Rorschach test, a way to project their own beliefs about gender, grief, and control. If you watch politics long enough, you learn that optics often matter more than facts. Throughout history, single images, real or rumored, have shifted public emotion. A soldier's kiss on VJ Day, a tear during a presidential address, a hand clasped at a funeral. The alleged Kirk Vance clip joined that lineage, except this time, the image didn't even need to be real to exert power. The idea of two conservative women, one representing legacy, the other intellect, united in sorrow and strength, was enough to move audiences, outrage critics, and inspire countless think pieces. In that sense, the leak became a study in modern myth-making. Online culture no longer waits for evidence. It builds emotional truth through shared imagination. People felt something when they pictured that scene. The runway, the dark sunglasses, the silent hand-holding. It was cinematic, archetypal, almost biblical. And in the theater of politics, feelings often rewrite reality. As the frenzy grew, both women maintained silence. Neither Erika Kirk nor Usha Vance commented publicly on the rumor. Their teams issued no denials, no confirmations, just silence, which only fueled speculation further. Silence, after all, is the most potent accelerant in an information wildfire. In the absence of facts, audiences invent their own scripts. Some imagined Usha as the quiet mentor guiding Erika through tragedy. Others saw Erika as the emotional heart softening Usha's calculating intellect. The more they refused to speak, the more the story expanded, spilling into podcasts, talk shows, and online forums dissecting what it all means. At the same time, critics of the right accused conservative media of exploiting female grief for rebranding, claiming the viral imagery helped humanize a movement long associated with rigidity. Supporters pushed back, arguing that compassion and composure are not contradictions. The conversation wasn't just about two women anymore. It was about what America expects from women in power, how they must perform strength without seeming cold, vulnerability without seeming weak. Weeks later, a second wave of content hit. Reaction videos claiming to decode the body language in the non-existent footage. Creators slowed down imaginary frames, analyzed posture angles, and speculated about coded signals. The absurdity reached a point where late-night comedians joked that the internet had turned a rumor into a religion. But the fascination didn't die. Instead, it evolved. The alleged phrase, 15 minutes at a time, a supposed whisper from Usha to Erika offering comfort, became a viral mantra. Motivational pages quoted it. Wellness influencers posted it over stock footage of sunsets. It was as if the world collectively decided to extract wisdom from fiction. Even skeptics couldn't help but notice the phenomenon's emotional gravity. Whether real or not, the story gave people language for endurance. 15 minutes at a time became shorthand for surviving chaos, political, personal, or digital. And maybe that's what made it so contagious. Beneath the controversy was a message of humanity that transcended ideology. Still, some observers worried about what this meant for truth itself. If audiences can be so deeply moved by an event that never happened, what happens when political strategists learn to manufacture that emotion deliberately? Media analysts called the Kirk-Vance rumor a proof of concept, evidence that emotional authenticity can be simulated and still yield real influence. Deepfake technology, narrative virality, and influencer amplification had merged into a perfect storm. The story showed that in 2025, belief is currency. Whoever controls the emotional narrative controls the public imagination. And yet, beyond the think pieces and paranoia, there was also beauty in how people responded. Across political lines, countless viewers expressed genuine empathy, not for ideology, but for human grief. For a brief moment, the outrage machine paused, and people remembered what solidarity could look like. Even if the image was fictional, the feeling it evoked was real. That paradox is the beating heart of this entire saga. In the months that followed, Erika Kirk re-emerged in the public eye, focusing on her charitable initiatives and her husband's legacy. Usha Vance continued her quiet presence beside the vice president. The internet slowly moved on, chasing new stories, new outrages, but the echo of that rumor never quite disappeared. It remained a digital ghost, a reminder of how a single emotional narrative can redefine public perception, even without evidence. Scholars now cite the Erika Usha leak as a case study in collective narrative construction, how communities online collaborate, often unconsciously, to build myths that satisfy emotional needs unmet by real news. It's not that people believed the rumor because they were gullible. They believed it because it offered meaning, closure, and connection in a fragmented era. Like modern folklore, it spread because it answered something deeper, a hunger for humanity in politics. And maybe that's the most important takeaway. The Erika Kirk and Usha Vance story isn't really about whether a video exists. It's about what we, as a culture, choose to believe, and why. In the digital age, grief becomes content, compassion becomes strategy, and every gesture can be edited, remixed, or imagined into significance. The line between empathy and manipulation isn't just blurred, it's monetized. Yet amid the noise, the emotional core of this story still resonates. Two women, real or imagined, standing together in loss, finding strength where the world expected weakness. Whether that moment happened or not almost doesn't matter anymore. What matters is why people needed it too. So the next time a leaked video goes viral, ask yourself, do we want facts or do we want feelings? Are we consuming truth or are we crowdsourcing myth? Because in 2025's media landscape, the difference can vanish in a heartbeat. And that brings us back to the central paradox of this saga. A rumor about empathy revealed how desperate we are for it. A false image of unity sparked real conversations about gender, power, and loss. And in that sense, the Erika Kirk and Usha Vance story is less about deception than reflection. It reflects us, our hopes, our fears, our hunger for sincerity in a world of performance. If you made it this far, you already know what to do. Hit that like button if you believe truth and empathy still matter. Subscribe for more deep dives into the stories shaping our digital age, the real, the rumored, and the ones that blur the line between both. And in the comments below, tell me what you think this viral myth says about us. Was it compassion or calculation? Grief or game plan? Or maybe, just maybe, a mirror we all needed to see? Because in the end, sometimes the stories that aren't true reveal the truest things about who we are.